Hello, welcome to Tallinnopen YouTube channel. Here we'll tell you the history of this city, interesting places, interesting events, where to go, what to see and how to relax. So click the subscribe and press the bell button and get to know Tallinn. Tallinn, city of contrasts. Here, Middle Ages blend with the modernity, and the architecture combines the old with the new, making the city a great lesson of art history. In this series, we would like to have a closer look at Tallinn's architecture. When I first came to Tallinn as a tourist, it really surprised me with the amount of Soviet buildings here, and reminded me of an era which ended 60 years ago. And to be honest with you, made me a little bit nostalgic, so I decided to travel back in time to see how Soviet times has influenced the view of this city. You might realize that there is something unique about this city comparing it to other ex-republics of Soviet Union. It looks very sophisticated and bourgeois. Let me share an interesting fact with you. That's why the Soviet cinematographers used this location to portray Western life in the Soviet cinema.
Шляпы, 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 считает он своими, беспечные растяпы толпой бегут за ними.
During USSR period, we can distinguish two styles in architecture: Stalinism Classicism of 40s and 50s, and Soviet modernism from 50s until 80s. After the Second World War, not all of the architects emigrated, and those who stayed still built in the pre-war style. But in 1950, Russia had sent their architects to implement the new Soviet design. So let's have a look at the architecture with a touch of totalitarianism. Here we have an excellent example of Stalinism Classicism, the house with a tower, finished in 1954. This is one of the most sophisticated buildings of Soviet era in Tallinn. And if you think it's some kind of governmental building, you could not be more wrong, because it actually has a residential purposes, and this is how it serves until now. I would say it still looks very impressive, and I wouldn't say no to a comfy apartment with a tiny cute balcony. Here we have another example of Stallinist Classicism, Russian Culture Center, with its final look dated back to 1953. Actually, it has a very long history. In 19th century there was not much going on, but in 20th century Tallinn faced the problem of increasing population. It looks very classical, but if you pay a closer look, you will see Soviet symbols such as stars or, for example, workers instead of antique gods. In 1913, Vasily Voinov, an inventor of lighthouse lamp, has come up with an idea of opening a place for public screening of movies. He bought a building located here and turned it into a brand new cinema. He called it Grand Marina. Just before the war, it was renamed to IRS and started to show mostly American productions. The cinema ended its life in 1940, when the military took over the building. Voinov was sent to a lager, where his life ended 2 years later. Dark time continues. The total bombardment of Tallinn happened on 9th of March 1944. The bombs hit the cinema as well, but the most amazing thing is that the walls of Grand Marina survived. In 1953 brought a new project of Alexander Kuznetsov, the House of Fleet Officers. He designed a larger building, but he wanted the walls of old hall to be preserved. The facade was completely renovated and decorated. However, the city did not have enough money to support such a big reconstruction. Here helped the spirit of socialism. Everyone wanted to chip in, Tallinn sailors or military personnel from other Soviet republics. Thanks to those funds, it was possible to beautifully decorate the interior of the building with artificial marble and gilded stucco moldings. Interesting, the ceiling's chandeliers came from Moscow, where at that time also the orders for the Moscow metro were executed. And now this place, just like 100 years ago, is a center of culture. Various events, performances, concerts. It's definitely worth exploring. The death of Stalin in 1953 and shift in the rule has obviously brought changes. The new country leader Nikita Khrushchev has publicly criticized Stalin's empire style, calling it unnecessary, excessive and harmful. This gave an impulse for a new style to be born, Soviet modernism. But let me tell you about it in our next video. Thanks for watching, click like if you enjoyed it and click subscribe to not to miss any of our new videos. See you next time!